Thank you for the invitation, and it's lovely to be here in Italy. I'm going to speak for about 30 minutes about what are the developments that led to the formation of the Pirate Party in 2006. What issues are we driving? And perhaps most importantly and most interestingly, how can we drive those issues without a budget, without the blessing of media and the establishment, and still kick their ass? So, the why, the what, and the how. So, looking at what has happened, technology has always driven society and society's values. When you put new technology into the hands of everybody, those everybody start to think about how that technology can and maybe should be used. And that breaks the information monopoly of the government. This has happened before. All of this has happened before, and all of this will happen again. When the printing press arrived, around 1450, the Catholic Church panicked. They went to monarchs and kings around Europe and tried to get it forbidden. And they succeeded. In France, the printing press was banned in 1535 at the request of the Catholic Church. Great Britain took a different approach. They realized you couldn't just ban something outright that was so popular. Instead, they gave a monopoly to the largest printing guild of London. They got this monopoly on May 4 of 1557, and the only condition was that the royal censors would get to censor anything printed before production. Thus, the Catholic Church could control what was printed. This mechanism is called copyright, and it is still around. Copyright was created on May 4, 1557, to root out Protestantism in Great Britain. Broadcast radio, same thing. When people could speak to other people without government having control over it, all over the world, the government reacted in the same way. Monopoly. Control. Immediately, there were national radios popping up all over Europe. And in the 50s, you could see pirate radios transmitting from boats all over Europe. They were pretty much regarded as terrorists. And many countries used military force to board and capture the people sending radio, transmitting music, transmitting ideas that had not been controlled by the government. Television, same thing there. When television arrived, the first thing that happened was monopoly, control. In Sweden, satellite receivers were almost banned in the 80s because it would mean people could receive television shows that had not been previously approved by the government. All of this has happened before. All of this will probably happen again. So what's new? Well, the publications are decentralized. It doesn't require a huge investment, like a boat, to be a pirate this time around. And perhaps most importantly, and the most destabilizing feature this time around, anybody who can receive can also send. If you're a receiver of information, you're also an equal in transmitting information. There is no way to just feed you propaganda, ideas, reference points, without you being able to respond. And that is genuinely new. That changes the game completely. Because that means government and media and academics can no longer control what you see or hear without other people being able to comment on it. So, a lot of uncomfortable things have arisen for the people who used to control information and control people's reference points. The citizens have started to independently verify what the government is doing. We have seen a rise of citizen journalism. People, quite on themselves and in their spare time, are starting to verify claims made by the establishment and calling foul if something shows up to be not true. This was a shock to the establishment. They couldn't get away with lying. I mean, this sounds basic, but it is something extremely unsettling and destabilizing for the old order. The information flow is not controllable. You don't have a distribution system of newspapers anymore, where you can see how newspapers flow from the printing presses out to the households. Information flows in unpredictable ways and uncontrollable ways. This leads to an anonymous debate on things that haven't been possible to discuss before. Subjects which have been surrounded by stigma, shame, and taboo are now being discussed, although anonymously. People don't want to put their names on the opinions, but the opinions are still there. This is new. And perhaps most unsettling to government, the cost of organizing people by the hundreds of thousands have fallen dramatically. You don't need a newspaper. You don't need offices. You don't need salaried people. You don't need a huge nationwide organization to organize hundreds of thousands of people. Imagine what that does to an organization trying to maintain control over a reference point. Imagine what that does to the old established political parties. It is not a coincidence that the Pirate Party of Sweden, founded in 2006, is already the third largest party in terms of membership, with 50,000 members and 17,000 active members who want to help out with their own hands. So there are a couple of threats that the government is responding to. Ideas that are uncontrolled, that come from places unexpected. Facts and claims that actually get checked and verified. You can't get to, all of a sudden, and I'm going to take a concrete example of this. Our Minister of Defense